If you're a language arts teacher, do you have trouble getting your students to write stories? Maybe you're familiar with this situation. A student sits down, crosses their arms over their chest, and says, I don't know what to write. Or maybe they come up with this great idea and they're very excited until they sit down and stare at the blank page, and then they cross their arms and say, I don't know how to start my story. Trust me, the blank page is a challenge that every author faces, regardless of their age or their experience level. It is a genuine challenge that every writer faces. But the blank page doesn't have to end up in the garbage can. If you want some fun ways to get your kids writing, I have some cool writing prompts that you can try out. In fact, I have 3 of them. I've got one for the younger kids, kindergarten to grade 3. I've got a writing prompt for grades 4 to 6. And I've got a writing prompt for grades 7 and up. Now, let's get to it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Hi, I'm Marty Chan, a kids author, playwright, and storyteller, and welcome to the Magic of Literacy. In this video series, I'm going to share with you writing tips to help language arts teachers motivate their students to become better writers. I'm going to focus on the craft of creative writing and share practical tips that you can use to get your kids excited about writing. In this video, I'm going to focus on story prompts. Story starters that will get kids working on their own stories. In fact, I've got 3 story prompts, one for younger students, one for middle students, and one for older students. But before I go down that road, I'm going to share with you a story of how I was motivated to become a writer myself. I had a language arts teacher named Mr. Nigro, and he was the best teacher I ever had. He gave our class a homework assignment. He said, imagine you've won the lottery and you have $1 million at your disposal. You can use that money and buy anything you want. I just want you to describe how you'd use that money to redecorate your bedroom. Now, I was a lazy teenager, so my idea of a dream bedroom was to have a bed I never had to get out of to do all the things I wanted to do. So I put my bed on an elevator. Top level is where I slept. There was a skylight overhead so I could sleep under the stars. Right beside the bed, there was an elevator button on the nightstand. I pushed it, and the bed would lower to a library with all the books I wanted to read. Next level had a big screen TV, all the movies I wanted to watch. Underneath that, there was a kitchen and a bathroom. But the kitchen had an automatic fast food dispenser, so I could get a Big Mac, KFC, and a slice of pizza with the push of 3 buttons. Underneath the kitchen, there was a video game arcade with every game system in the world. And below that, best level of all, it had an indoor swimming pool. I remember I handed in that assignment and Mr. Nigro gave it back to me a couple of weeks later, and he said, Marty, you've got a great imagination. You should become a writer. Well, that's what I did. And now I'm going to share with you those story prompts. This story prompt is a tribute to my language arts teacher, Mr. Nigro. I want you to ask your students to imagine that they've won the lottery and they have $1 million at their disposal. They can spend that money on anything they want, but they have to describe how they use that money to buy things to redecorate or renovate their bedroom. The sky's the limit. They can buy anything they want, but they have to be specific about how they would redecorate or renovate their bedroom. Let's see what kind of amazing stories they'll come up with when they have $1 million and they can do anything to their bedroom. For this story prompt, I'm going to rip a page out of the improv book. In improvisation, there is a classic rule that every improviser follows, and that rule is yes and. That's where you take an offer and you add to it. And in this case, I'm going to have 3 offers for the students. There are 3 objects that they will have to incorporate into their story at some point. Doesn't have to be the beginning of the story, could be the middle, could be the end. But 3 objects that they have to play with. In fact, think about this. Challenge them to think of these 3 objects as objects that they need to use to get out of an escape room. How are they going to use a Rubik's Cube, a ukulele, and a can of Lysol to be able to escape from a room? Let's see what kind of stories they come up with. This story prompt is for younger kids. One of the challenges of getting younger kids to come up with stories is they're still trying to figure out the mechanics of writing. So let's focus on getting them to tell stories. And it's always great to make something personal for the little kids. So what I am going to offer up is their stuffies or toys. I want them to pick their favorite toy, their favorite stuffy, and turn that favorite toy or stuffy into the main character of their story. And we're going to pretend that that toy or stuffy is going to come to life either in their house or in the classroom, and they'll go on an adventure. It's up to the kids to figure out what kind of adventure they'll go on, but they have to use their favorite toy or stuffy, and they have to use either their home or the classroom as the starting point for their adventure story. Now, it's a fun exercise for them to keep it personal because seeing is believing, and if they can see their stuffy or their toy, they can describe it. And there you have it, 3 story starters that will hopefully get your kids excited about writing. Now, if you've liked that and you're looking for more story starters that you can use for your students, here's a bonus. On Twitter, I have posted more story starters under the hashtag #PromptMyStory. Not only that, but I've invited some Canadian author friends of mine to also post under that hashtag. So if you're stuck for more story starters, go to Prompt My Story and you'll get a whole bunch of new ideas to get your kids excited about writing. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please press like or click the subscribe button. I hope to put out a new video every Thursday. Sometimes I'll share writing tips like the one I did here. Sometimes I'll tell stories or folk tales, and sometimes I'll just have fun and show you what the life of a writer can be. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, my name is Marty Chan, and if you want to know more about me, check out my website, martychan.com. Have a great day, and we'll see you around.